All right, so maybe you're like me, starting to dip your toes into the ocean. That is the Spanish language.
It's a fun journey, right? And you know what? Today we're diving into a part that can really help things click.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Indefinite articles.
Okay, hold on. Rewind a sec. Articles, I know, like the enas, but indefinite.
Exactly. Think an, or even some in English.
Okay, I got those down. Pretty basic stuff.
They are, but you'd be surprised how often we use them without even thinking. And in Spanish, they're the key to unlocking a lot of how the language works.
All right, you've piqued my interest.
Uh,
Let's dive in. So in Spanish, what are we talking about?
We're talking about un, una, unos, and unas. You've got your masculine and feminine forms just like nouns.
Okay, that tracks. So un is for like a boy, el chica.
You got it. And una would be for a girl, la chica.
And then unos and unas would be for the plurals.
Exactly. Unos chicos, unas chicas. See? It's already making sense.
Okay, so far so good. This is feeling pretty logical.
Right. But of course, Spanish wouldn't be Spanish without a little curveball thrown in there for good measure.
I'm sensing a but coming. What's the catch?
So you'd think feminine nouns that start with A would always use una, right?
Yeah, it seems like that would make sense.
But that's not always the case. For instance, take the word for eagle, águila. It's a feminine noun, but you wouldn't say una águila. You'd actually say una águila.
Whoa, wait. So even though it's feminine because it starts with an A sound, it uses the masculine un. That's kind of counterintuitive, isn't it?
It seems that way at first, but here's the cool part. Because of this exception, when you hear the plural unas águilas, you instantly know it's plural, even though it also uses unas. The A at the beginning of águilas signals the plural, thanks to that exception.
Huh. That's actually really clever. It's like this little quirk helps avoid confusion when you're actually speaking Spanish.
Precisely. And it doesn't stop there. You'll find other examples in our materials like ornala for a classroom and un hacha for an axe. It's all about that initial A sound.
Gotcha. So it's like this little exception is actually there to make spoken Spanish clearer.
You got it.
Okay, I'm starting to see the method to the madness here. So we've got our articles.
Huh.
Un, una, unos, unas. And we know they change based on gender and whether we're talking about one thing or many.
Yeah.
But how do we actually use these in sentences?
Great question. And this is where those two main jobs come in. The first one is telling us that something is part of a larger group.
Can you give me an example?
Of course, when you say es un reloj, it's a clock, you're not talking about any specific clock. You're saying it's one of many possible clocks.
Oh, okay. So it's like subtly saying one of many without actually using those words.
Exactly. It's all about implying that it's part of a category.
That makes sense. And what's the second job?
Quantity. Think of it like this. You're at a cafe in Spain ready to order your drink. You want just one delicious café con leche. What do you say?
Okay, let me try this out. Un café con leche, por favor.
Perfecto. You see how you used un to specify you wanted one coffee and not two?
I do. That's so cool. And it works for other things too, right? Like if I was at a bookstore, I could ask for un libro de historia, one history book.
Exactly. And don't forget about those plurals, unas manzanas for some apples or unos euros when you're talking about money.
It's fascinating how these small words are like the building blocks of so many sentences.
Absolutely. And the best part is once you get the hang of them, they start popping up everywhere in conversations, making your Spanish sound more and more natural.
That's always a good feeling, like you're putting together a puzzle, and these little articles are some of the key pieces.
I love that analogy. Because it's true, learning a language is all about those aha moments. And these little words, they're definitely one of them.
They really are. So to all our listeners out there, next time you see un or una, remember, you're not just learning grammar. You're unlocking a little more of the Spanish-speaking world.
Exactamente. And that's the beauty of language learning. Every new word, every new rule brings you one step closer to fluency.
And who knows, maybe one day you'll find yourself confidently ordering that café con leche in the heart of Madrid.
Now that's a goal worth striving for.
Absolutely. And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive for today. Until next time, keep those language skills sharp.
Hasta luego.